Welcome to this explainer. For centuries, humans have done the exact same thing. We've gazed up at the night sky and asked ourselves one really profound, kind of haunting question. Are we alone? Now, if you just go by movies and books, you'd probably think the answer comes in the form of little green men or, terrifying world-destroying monsters. But today, we're going to look at the actual science. And the reality of aliens from outer space is way more complex, and frankly, it paints a much more fascinating and humbling picture than anything Hollywood has ever dreamed up. So let's just quickly run through the flight plan for this explainer. We'll be tackling this in 4 stages. First, the scale of the cosmos. Second, the great silence. Third, the microscopic reality. And finally, our place in the cosmos.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, the scale of the cosmos.
Trillions. Just think about that number for a second. We usually start by talking about our own neighborhood, right? The Milky Way galaxy, which contains hundreds of billions of stars, and that alone is a massive number. But scientists estimate that beyond our galaxy, there are literally trillions of other galaxies out there. Trillions, each with their own billions of stars, and most of those stars have planets orbiting them. The sheer volume of the cosmos is really the foundational argument for why life simply must exist elsewhere. It's just unimaginably vast.
Because of that vastness, scientists estimate that among those trillions of galaxies, there could be billions of planets sitting right in the habitable zone. You can think of this as the perfect Goldilocks distance from a star, where it's not too hot, it's not too cold, meaning liquid water, which is the absolute essential ingredient for life as we know it, can actually exist. When you have billions of planets basically rolling the cosmic dice in this perfect zone, it becomes statistically almost impossible to believe that Earth is the single only lucky planet in the entire universe.
And this statistical certainty was perfectly articulated by the late, brilliant theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking. He strongly believed that intelligent life must exist somewhere out there simply because the numbers are so overwhelmingly large. When you have an absolute authority like Hawking pointing directly at the math, you realize pretty quickly that believing in aliens isn't some sci-fi fantasy, right? It's a really solid, statistically grounded scientific assumption.
Which brings us right to section 2, the great silence.
So this introduces the famous Fermi Paradox. If the universe is so incredibly big and so incredibly old, and if the mathematical probability of life is really that high, well, then we are faced with a massive contradiction. Why haven't we seen a flying saucer? Why haven't our massive satellite dishes received a clear radio message? We have this incredibly high probability of extraterrestrial life, and it's directly clashing with a complete and total lack of evidence or contact.
Where is everybody? Seriously, just let that eerie reality sink in for a second. We are looking out into a universe that should, by all mathematical accounts, be absolutely teeming with life. And yet, when we listen, we hear absolutely nothing. This one simple question is widely considered to be the biggest mystery in space exploration today.
So how does science actually explain this silence? Well, the most likely reality comes down to that unimaginable scale we were just talking about. Space is measured in light years. The very nearest star to us, Proxima Centauri, is over 4 light years away. Now that might sound like a small number, but using our absolute best current rocket technology, which, let's be honest, is practically a horse and buggy in cosmic terms, it would take humanity tens of thousands of years just to reach that near star. The distances are just too huge.
It's exactly like 2 people stuck on opposite sides of a vast ocean with no boats. They are both there. They absolutely both exist. But because the space between them is so unimaginably immense and they lack the technology to cross it, they can never actually meet. In the cosmic ocean, light years are an incredibly effective barrier to saying hello.
Actually, scratch that. It gets even more complex. Because we aren't just separated by space, we're separated by time. The universe is billions of years old. If advanced civilizations do exist or did exist, they might have lived, thrived, and completely died out millions of years ago. Our window of technological existence is just a tiny, tiny blip in the timeline of the entire universe. So we're essentially trying to find someone not only in the same vast room, but precisely at the exact same moment in a timeline stretching billions of years.
Let's pivot now to section 3, the microscopic reality.
There is a really stark contrast between our sci-fi expectations and actual scientific reality. We almost always imagine aliens as human-like beings with advanced tech flying around in saucers. But in truth, the most realistic alien we are likely to find won't be building spaceships at all.
It's going to be microscopic bacteria hidden deep beneath Martian soil, or maybe swimming under the ice of frozen moons right here in our own solar system.
Right at this very moment, NASA's rovers are literally rolling across the surface of Mars. And they aren't looking for ruins of ancient cities. They are carefully digging into ancient riverbeds. They're meticulously searching for tiny fossilized microbes. They are looking for the chemical signatures of a single, dead cell. The search for extraterrestrial life is incredibly grounded, gritty, microscopic work.
Now, you might be wondering, why go through all that effort just for a microbe? Because finding even a single dead cell on Mars would be absolutely revolutionary. If we find just one dead cell, it changes everything. It would conclusively prove that life is not just some one-time miracle that only ever happened here on Earth. It would prove that biology is a natural process that happens everywhere the conditions are right. If it happened twice in one single solar system, it means the universe is practically overflowing with life. And that leads us to our final section, Section 4, our place in the cosmos.
So, to wrap our heads around the reality of our search so far, it gives us this picture. Yes, the universe is likely teeming with life, but most of it is simple and it's hidden. So for now, we're faced with a silent, empty sky. But it's a sky filled with endless possibilities. And unlocking those possibilities requires our continued, dedicated commitment. We have to keep listing into the deep dark with our telescopes, and we absolutely must keep exploring our local neighborhood with our robots.
Ultimately, this search isn't just about finding neighbors. Staring out into the immense, silent void of space actually forces us to look right back at ourselves. It really underscores the incredible fragility and preciousness of Earth. It helps us understand our own place in the cosmic order. The silence of the universe is just this profound reminder of how incredibly special this oasis of life truly is. So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. We aren't yet sure if we're alone. But when you really consider the vastness of the galaxies, the insane distances of light years, and the microscopic reality of what alien life probably looks like, are we alone? Or are we literally just finally learning how to look properly? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep looking up, and I'll catch you on the next one.